So someone had a question. They wanted to know, is it possible to reverse the damage from diabetes? Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how to do that. And yes, it's totally possible to do that. So the first thing to know is what's causing the damage. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you to a new term that you may have not heard before, and the pronunciation is glycosylation. Okay, this is a condition where you're taking sugar molecule and you're bonding it to a protein molecule. Now, when you combine sugar to protein in a certain environment, you render that protein unavailable to the body, okay? Because it creates a permanent bond. But not only that, you make certain proteins pathogenic, okay? And let me explain. Now, you've heard about good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, right? You have so-called good cholesterol is HDL and bad cholesterol is LDL. Now, those are not really cholesterol particles. What they are cargo ships. They're transporters. Low-density lipoprotein, okay? They're proteins. They have cholesterol in them. They also have triglycerides, but the LDL itself is a lipoprotein. So it can carry the cholesterol through the blood. And LDL itself, being the so-called bad cholesterol, is not really bad unless you expose it to a lot of sugar, okay? Because you're going to create this effect where you're going to bond the sugar to the protein and make it pathogenic. It's going to stick to your arteries. So there's one more new term I want to give you called AGEs, Advanced Glycation End Products, okay? These are proteins that are sticky and they clog things up and they block blood flow to the nervous system and other parts of the body. But the AGEs are the end product of having this high sugar with the combination of certain proteins. Now, hemoglobin is the protein that carries oxygen through the blood. Now, one of the ways that doctors look at diabetes is through this A1C test, okay? But what this will show you is the amount of exposure to this protein, okay? And it's on a scale. You want it low, you don't want it high. But that's one of the ways that they look at diabetes through this test, A1C. Then you have neuropathies, okay? These are situations where you have nerve damage. It usually shows up in the peripheral nerves first, and the bottom of your toes and the fingertips, they go numb, they have burning, tingling. What's happening is these sticky protein sugar molecules are blocking the blood vessels to the nervous system, killing off those nerves. And then we have problems inside the artery walls. We have problems with glucose saturating the lens of the eye, causing cataracts. Glucose creating problems in the protein in the circulation that goes to the retina, causing diabetic retinopathy, which is one of the leading causes of blindness with diabetes. And also glaucoma and many other different problems with the eye. Your connective tissue, because it's a protein, becomes affected. For example, you have this fascia or this sheath of connective tissue underneath the foot called the plantar fascia, and you can develop what's called plantar fasciitis, which basically that fascia is contracting and it's causing a lot of pain. And you can see this in a diabetic where their arch starts going higher and higher and higher because that fascia is contracting. Then you actually end up with a hammer toe and a lot of feet problems, not to mention infections. Because the food for bacteria is sugar. So when you increase the sugar, it's a perfect environment for bacteria to grow, fungus to grow, yeast to grow. And this is why diabetics have a lot of infections. Also, you see a higher incidence of getting toenail fungus with diabetics because of the sugar feeding the fungus. There's another condition called gastroparesis. What is that? That's a situation where your digestive system is just really sluggish and you're not processing food that quickly. That has to do with the damaged vagus nerve, because with diabetes, the nervous system is one of the big targets. So you'll have problems with the brain, the nervous system, the kidney, the vascular system, and the eye. All right, so now that you have some data on how the tissues of the body get damaged from diabetes, the question is, how do you reverse it? Well, number one, you have to lower the sugar. What is diabetes? It's a condition of high sugar, okay? So you must get the sugar out of the diet. You cannot reverse diabetes unless you do that. And that would be a low-carb diet, okay? And we're talking healthy keto, of course. Also, the other thing that will do it is doing intermittent fasting. Those two combined are very effective for stopping the damage, because that will also decrease your blood sugar and force your body to run on fat fuel, okay? So that's number one. The problem is that the damage that's already in your body is irreversible. So we have to give it time for those tissues to regenerate and replace themselves, okay? And that could take 3 to 4 months for a lot of the tissues, but some can take a lot longer, especially if it's part of the nervous system, because the nerves only grow by 1 millimeter per day, okay? That's not very fast. So it could take several years to get those nerves back. However, there are some things that can speed up the process. There's 2 main nutrients that I'm going to recommend that have been known to have great success with this. One is simple vitamin B1, but in a form that is a little different than the water-soluble B1. You want the fat-soluble B1, and it's called benfotiamine. I'll put the word and the spelling down below so you can actually identify it. And I would recommend taking higher amounts of that, okay? 4 capsules a day. Because it is fat-soluble, it can go into the nervous system, into the fat layer around the nerves, called the myelin sheath, a lot better. It actually absorbs into the brain 25 times better than the regular B1. So this is a really important one. The next remedy is called alpha-lipoic acid, okay? I would recommend taking 600 milligrams 3 times a day. That's a lot, but that's what you're going to need to start to speed up the reversal of this damage. But it all starts with changing your diet. You must get the sugar out of the diet, go on a low carb, do intermittent fasting. All right, thanks for watching. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat burning triggers and blockers and fat burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.